What's happening? This is Ryan Dawkins, and you're tuning in to The Loft.
Have brought out the best of me.
All right, check 1 2 1 2. You got me right?
Check 1 2 1 2. Yep.
Sweet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Loft. If you guys are new here, please like, comment, subscribe. And if you're not new, welcome back. Today, I have a very special guest joining us in The Loft. We got the Eagles season ticket holder of section 225 and a bunch of other sections of 115, Eric Emanuele AKA Erock. You may know him as one of the top Eagles fans, period, on social media, however you want to slice it. But thank you for coming on, brother. I appreciate it.
Dude, this has been a long time coming, and I'm finally glad to sit on this couch and chop it up with you and talk about some birds.
Yeah, man, like pause, but no, but yeah, no.
Oh, dude, can we do that intro again? Oh, it's so awkward.
No, it's so good.
Oh, we're just gonna keep it rolling.
We have to. We have to. It's so good.
Damn it.
Nah, but no, I really do appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, like it was a long time coming, and you know we were able to connect at the Brandon Graham event by Jordan Spector, and
yes,
and you were emceeing. You sounded incredible. Kept the vibe going. I saw you DJing. You with your wife DJing. I was going off the vibe, so it was a good time. It was cool.
It was a phenomenal time for a phenomenal artist, and and honestly, legendary, phenomenal player. So I mean, and it was such an intimate event.
Yeah.
Where BG had the opportunity to sign all those Jordan Spector cards, take a picture. And like one of my jobs was to kind of keep the line moving, which was a little difficult because Brandon absolutely loves to talk to people. He's not one of those people you meet at an autograph signing and he's like, "Ba-ba-ba-bow, next, ba-ba, yeah, thanks, next." He will sit there and have a conversation with you. So he can last 5 minutes before I got to let the next pair of people in. You know?
He's one of those guys, and that's like the one thing I love about him. And like, it was really cool. And got to shout out Jordan Spector. I'm so proud of him. Like, just seeing his growth as an artist and like as a human has been like so cool to see. But no, the event, like it was cool because it was super intimate. There's like 70 something people there, and like. Just the fact that every single person got to have a conversation, and like, you know, Big Dom pulled up, and like that
was awesome.
He's got a whole different aura of his own. But nah, it was cool. It was really cool to be a part of that. And like I said, like you kept the vibe going, kept the line moving. But
you can't underrate, like, listen, there's any event that you have, and this is for anybody out there that's holding an event, you need two good things. You need a good DJ, because if your DJ sucks, the whole vibe is off. Everyone's kind of talking about the DJ or the music selection sucks, and it brings down the vibe of the whole event. Yeah. And then, and it's so weird, I just attended another event where like nobody was emceeing and nobody was in charge and nobody was keeping it moving and nobody had a microphone and it was just awkward. Yeah. So if you're ever holding a corporate event, a fundraiser or anything, you need a good DJ.
Hey, I appreciate the endorsement.
and you need a good MC to just keep the flow moving.
Yeah, man. And you still are / used to be a DJ, right? You still spin a little bit?
so I do. In my younger year, I was full-time. I hold the distinction of being the first DJ hired at Xfinity Live and fired at Xfinity Live. So that's my name's on the wall somewhere in that building. I'm not exactly sure where.
There may be darts on it, but who knows?
Yeah, there probably is. But yeah, for a good, I would say 6 years, I was DJing heavy. And then you have kids rolling home at 4 a.m, doesn't quite fit the bill anymore.
Nah, for sure, yeah.
Especially when they're babies. And I still break it out for the tailgates. Like I still hold the tailgates near and dear to my heart. So I'll come out of retirement for that. But otherwise, I'm washed.
Yeah, nah. I mean, and you start, you start missing things, and you start a family, and it's like, things change and develop, and your things you love to do. And like a really cool transition you made was like making amazing content for like centered. I would assume, so from what I've seen, like it's centered around Eagles, right?
Yeah.
It's centered around Philly sports, and people love it. You were showing me the Angelina Jolie one you just posted, which was great. It was awesome. It's like things like that like it gets people's attention.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see. And like I said, like I've been seeing you around posting. You like you're there's like a bit of like an ecosystem with Eagles fans. Yeah. And I see you at the top of that, and it's been really cool to see. And I'm really curious as to like how that transition went and like how that the traction really began.
So I started doing Eagles. I moved to Philadelphia in 2007, And lifelong Eagles fan. Grandparents grew up in Trenton, going
Right.
down to Franklin Field, season ticket holder since the 90s. When I moved to Philadelphia, I really didn't. It was like a self-discovery thing. I was hitting a time in my life where it's like, you kind of need to lock yourself in a room where you don't know anybody and nobody knows you, and you don't know where you are, and kind of like rediscover yourself. And in the process of doing that, I was like, man, I just love the birds. I love talking about the birds. I don't know anybody. It would be a great idea if I grab one of these cameras and I grab a laptop like that, and I just started posting. YouTube just started becoming hot.
Yep.
And so I hopped on YouTube, and believe it or not, there was a point in time where Eagles fan social media was like me and 4 other dudes on YouTube. That was it. That was your selection if you wanted to.
Yeah.
After doing videos for 2 years and being a season ticket holder and kind of going to all the events, I started rubbing elbows with the PhiladelphiaEagles.com team. They brought me on for 3 years, and Eagles Television Network. I was hosting a television show called, oh my God, Eagles Mashup and The Green Zone.
Yeah.
On local here in Philadelphia, and then doing segments at training camp at Lehigh. That's how far back we're going.
Yeah.
Training camp at Lehigh, and they sent me to the draft, and I would do fan segments there.
Oh, no way.
After Chip came, everything kind of got like real private, so that got nixed.
Yeah.
And then it just started transition. I am the benefactory of being at the right place at the right time.
For sure.
I'm not the best content creator. I'm not the greatest content creator. I'm not the most creative content creator. But I jumped on each platform like right as it was busting off.
Yeah.
So I was kind of the benefactor of being there first. I'm not the
Right.
biggest. I'm not the best, but I was there first.
Well, your longevity does say something about how good of a content creator you are. Like your longevity and able to adapt, and I think, and also seizing opportunities. You know what I mean? That goes with like everything in life, and like the fact you got to work for the Eagles Network, and you did segments at Lehigh, and you're still like at the top of your game. It does say a lot about who you are and stuff and all that. And like,
Thank you.
yeah, of course.
Thank you.
I mean, like I said, I've seen you. I've seen you everywhere, and like I love the dude. I'll say this, and you can agree with this. I was like, Eagles fans are the best in the world, like
100%.
without a doubt. Like
100%.
the fandom is crazy. Like no matter if you go to a Phillies game or whatever. Like I was just at an Orioles game last Tuesday, and it was super family friendly, and it was great. But you could tell like the Eagles or the Phillies are like, it's just a different breed. Like people go there to drink and like go nuts, have a good time, and like. Certain other ballparks are pretty family oriented, but like, and even like, but yeah, the Eagles fans and like the tailgates and the whole atmosphere is just something in the air in the fall. You know what I mean?
It certainly is. And I'll tell you, I always thought, and I've said this before, and it's worth stating again, because I thought that was a lot of fluff. Like going up, I was raised in those parking lots. I was raised going to those games. I cut my teeth in F1.
Yeah.
So I assumed that all NFL cities were kind of the same.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? They were just as nuts, just as crazy. Because everybody, it doesn't matter whether it's the NBA, they hold up the NBA title. This is for the best fans in the NBA. It could be in the middle of nowhere. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Stanley Cup, Florida Panthers. This is the best fans in the... No, it's not, but they say it. They always say it. So I always thought it was a level of us gassing each other up until I started traveling and venturing out of Lincoln Financial Field. And I can remember going down to Tampa for their season opener, and the stadium, a third empty, a third Eagles fans, and a third Tampa fans. I can remember going down to Baltimore, which you would expect. They were still in a playoff hunt. It was their last home game of the year, and the stadium was half empty. I remember going to L.A., so on and so forth. The reason you see all these Eagles fans taking over all these stadiums, it's not a coincidence.
Right.
It's because their fans aren't filling it up. Can you imagine? Nobody's ever taken over the Link. It's never going to happen.
That'll never happen.
It'll never happen. Ever.
Yeah.
But that sort of culture isn't the same culture when you start venturing out and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
No, all this time we were talking about how they're the most passionate. You got Brian Dawg, the most passionate, most intelligent. Any Eagles great will say that.
Yeah.
But then you realize, like, holy shit,
It's
it's actually
true.
true.
It's true, yeah.
Oh, my God,
Yeah,
this is for real.
Yep, and you even got, like, Shady McCoy, who talks about all the time on his podcast, like, man, my one regret was going to Buffalo. Like, I wish I stayed and won a chip in Philly. Like, it's like these players love playing here because of the fans, and it's good or bad. Like how the fans will get on you, but they'll also love you. You know?
And candidly, you hear from players that have left.
Yeah.
I've talked to players who know other players. They're in Philadelphia. They decide to bounce on that rookie contract. They go to Jacksonville or they go to Arizona, and they're like, shit, this isn't the same, man. It isn't the same juice.
Yeah. Do you? I mean, do you still like C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming back?
Yeah. You know, he's got the personality that he's got. We got the personality that we got. I think his management mishandled his entire free agency period last offseason.
Did he get less money to go to Detroit or no?
It's not that he got less money. He didn't get as long of a contract.
Right. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
And per that, he got less money. I think his management overvalued him so much that he kind of tainted his own market.
Yeah.
And so when this free agency came around, he was like, look, I never wanted to leave Philly to begin with. Can we just go back and cut to the chase? And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, that's the vibe that I got too when he came back. And then, you know, we took Barkley. You know, what are your thoughts on the Barkley acquisition?
Yeah, listen, Saquon is going to be the high tide that raises all boats. We're excited that he's here. He's excited that he's here. I don't think that we've felt the impact of Saquon Barkley being on this team yet.
Yeah.
We're going to understand it later on in the season. There is something to Jalen Hurts not feeling like he has to run the ball. The safety, you can't just drop too deep on the Eagles all the time because AJ and Smitty and Dallas and all that. Now you have to respect the run. There was a point in the season, listen, the 49ers figured it out. The 49ers, hats off, whatever, to them. They figured out that based upon the running back rotation, they knew what play it was. Because Swift couldn't pass block. Gainwell was... In other words, Super Bowl.
Two small scat backs, essentially.
Two small scat backs. Gainwell was the pass blocker, and he was mediocre at it. Swift couldn't pass block for it. So they knew exactly what we were doing by the rotation of running backs that were coming in and out.
Yeah.
So having an every down running back that doesn't come off the field, can pass block, can run the ball, catch the ball, can spread out wide, gives the defense a rest. AJ, Smitty, and Dallas are going to eat this year.
Yeah.
And Jalen's going to stay healthier and be more productive because all that blitz bullshit, that's a thing of the past.
Right. Now. And Jalen has looked great in camp. I've seen clips of him, and he looks incredible. Like, he looks dialed in. And, like, obviously having Saquon's amazing. And, like, actually having two receivers that is not J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor is incredible.
Yes.
I'm curious as to... Like I knew we were screwed last year when we were throwing screen passes to Julio Jones. Like, I knew it was over. Like, but I guess, like, coming from a real, like, crazy Eagles fan like yourself, do you think that having too many good players can spoil all of it together, or do you think there's like a synergy they can have this year that, like, because I feel like we haven't, as an Eagles fan base, and also, like, not many teams have had a top two, arguably top 15 receivers, a top 10 running back, like a top, I know fantasy gives Goddard top 15, but I think he's a great tight end. I'm curious as to see how Vic Fangio and the rest of the team can, like, the new coaches coming in can really help build that offense. Do you think it's possible to, like, be as dominant as, like, we think we will be?
Well, to answer your first part about, like, do you think that having too many superstars on one side of the ball kind of spoils it? And the answer is yes and no, right? Because we've seen the Terrell Owenses and so, sometimes the divas of the league. It's all about chemistry. And I think the Eagles have the chemistry here. I think the expectation has been set. Listen, you can like Sirianni, you can not like Sirianni. The one thing he will pound the table on, and he will die on Culture Hill. You know, and that you don't have. Could you imagine Smitty being up in arms about not getting the ball enough? Could you imagine Dallas Goedert not being a team player? And as much as the fans made, like, AJ needs to stay off social sometimes. Yeah. But he's a good guy and a good teammate. He's a great teammate. So you got all these, and Saquon's the real deal. That's what I hear from everybody in the Eagles. A bit like, listen, he's a great player. He's like the most pro. He took command of that locker room the minute he stepped foot. Already. His presence is felt. He's the leader in there. He's a team guy. So if you don't have team guys, then people get jealous. People look at other people's contracts. Smitty might look at AJ, cross-eyed, whatever it might be.
But he took less money.
I know.
That's the crazy part.
I know.
Yeah.
That would be a problem on any. Could you imagine that happening on the Dallas Cowboys with CeeDee Lamb and all that shit right now?
I mean, we've already seen it. Like,
Yeah.
Like we've seen. Like, we'll get into Dallas in a second,
Ah,
but because I love talking shit on Dallas, and it's very valid, especially past few years. But no, I agree with that. And it's funny is like being a dominant guy, and because he never had an offensive line, he's never arguably had a quarterback, he's never had a real team around him. So having a centered base already, and having Jalen be the guy, AJ's the receiving leader, like you have defensive anchors, and I think Jason Kelce will be missed, but I think it gives a chance for other guys to step up. It's just a natural like evolution, and he loves being involved. And I know, but I agree though. Jason Kelce is like he's a great leader, but it gives I'll say the only real bright side is it gives an opportunity for someone else, and also Cam Jurgens to step up and like to see what he's made of, and gives the team a chance to like step up. I feel like
especially with the Cam thing, I truly believe there is no person in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles more set up for success than Cam Jurgens. Now, what he does with it is ultimately up to him.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's pressure?
He's going to feel pressure regardless.
Right.
You're the center on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like,
you know what I mean? Now, granted, if he struggles, they're going to be, hey, Jason, people are going to be knocking on the dude's door.
Yeah.
But regardless, Jason helped draft that guy. He scouted that guy. He said, that's my replacement.
For sure.
And then he got to learn behind Jason. And then what's the best way to learn from the guy that you're replacing than to be right here, playing right guard? You know what I mean? You're on the job training.
Yeah.
So again, I'll reiterate, there's nobody in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles that has been more set up for success, especially following a legend, than Cam Jurgens. What he does with it is ultimately up to him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got all the confidence in the world in him.
Yeah.
I really do.
It's so scary, or not scary, but like it's crazy to think how like 4 years ago we wanted Howie fired, and Laurie get rid of the team, call it a day. To go from like this to like having Jordan Davis be like an afterthought to this team, is because he's on any other team he's one of the premier blue chip players. Well, on this team he still is, but it's like you have the offensive team, offensive side. You got veterans like Slay, who I think is a great veteran. And even switching guys around, and I am excited for this team, and it's like this has to be Super Bowl or bust. Like there's just no other way about it, in my opinion. I don't know what your thoughts are, but like just seeing how the team's been constructed and doing the who was Devin White, like getting Devin White, taking less money, wanting to be here. Like this has to be a season that's primed for us to take a real run.
I do think they're I'm going to say this all preseason, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite me in the ass, but I genuinely do think that they're going to the Super Bowl. Did I think they were going to the Super Bowl in 2017? No, nobody saw that coming.
That was crazy.
2022? No, I didn't see that one coming. This is the first time I'm kind of going into the season since the Terrell Owens year where I'm expecting. I'm expecting to go.
Let me ask, I feel like I have so many talking points. Where were you when Carson Wentz tore his ACL?
So I was in Los Angeles. I was there for that game.
You saw it? Wow.
And the weird story about that one is like, so we're in the LA Coliseum because SoFi hadn't been built yet.
Yeah.
It was under construction, and so we're sitting in the LA Coliseum, and West Coast Eagles fans are some of my favorite Eagles fans, man. They're so ravenous because we kind of take it for granted, right? We're sitting here in a basement in Fishtown. Where are you going to be on Sunday? Where the fuck you think I'm going to be? I'm going to be down at the game. You know what I mean? So they don't get that. They only get that when the birds travel west. Right. So when it happens, it is like the biggest party. They're all out there. They're all soaking it in, all having a great time. Carson gets hurt, starts limping to the locker room. They're like, oh, my God, Carson. And then we won the game, and as we continued to score, Nick came in and started getting the job done. Like, they're still cheering and everything. And I was with my mother. My mother was sitting next to me. I'm like, yeah, we're winning this game, but at what cost?
Right.
I couldn't enjoy the game because watching Carson go off the field, I'm like, fuck.
You knew what was coming.
That's an ACL. And then sitting on Venice Beach with my man Gail, eating breakfast, watching the press conference, and throwing our hands up. It's like, yeah, it's the ACL. You know, there goes everything.
Yeah.
So I was there to witness that, but it was a weird sort of, everyone's excited and amped and so happy, and then there's like the Eagles fans from Philly that are like just all sitting like this, you know?
Yeah, I was at a dive bar and I saw it happen, and everyone's like, "Oh, here we go," and I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like, I had a weird feeling. Like, I don't know if I was cautiously or I was optimistic, blindly optimistic, but I was like, I have a feeling Foles can get it done, and like, he did. And I was like, where were you when we won? You didn't go to the game, did you?
No, I didn't on purpose. When I was living in Philly,
right? Yeah.
2008. The wonderful part about moving to Philly was that, you know, I was a diehard Eagles fan. I was very casual with everything else. I didn't know the history of the Flyers. I didn't know the history of the Phillies. I didn't really know baseball. Yeah. But it's such a sports town that when the Phillies are playing, you can't help but get drawn in and go to a bar or watch it on TV after a long, you know, day's work, and just kind of lose yourself in the Phillies. So I got to like immerse myself in all of this. So when the Phillies won the series, I was living Parktown Place, right by on Benjamin Franklin Parkway. So when the parade happened, or the night that they won, not the rain, but the night that they won, I was with a bunch of buddies. We were at a bar on Walnut Street, and they won. We closed the tab early. We had a feeling like, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to fucking pop off when they win, and they did. And we all rushed Broad Street, and like we didn't know how to act. We didn't know what to do.
When they won in 08?
When the Phillies won in 08. Yeah. And it was one of the greatest nights of my life, because that's when people started. That's why they greased the polls when the Phillies won, because we were like, we don't know what to do. There's this fucking climate, you know, and all right, flip this car, whatever it might be, whatever it might be. So I always told my parents, I'm very close to my family. That's who I all go with. I was like, if the Eagles ever go to the Super Bowl, we have to be in Philadelphia when it happens. Fuck going to the game. Don't worry about that. Let's be in Philadelphia. You just got to trust me. You got to trust me. I was there when the Phillies won. You got to trust me. And after, I forget whether it was week 6, after they beat the Panthers, I called Mom, and I was like, you better book that bar and just put a deposit down, because this team's going to the Super Bowl. And she did. Oh, yeah. And so we rented out a bar on Broad Street.
That's sick.
For family, friends, you know, social media acquaintances. And so when they won, the only thing I wanted to do, I used to do these things called beer bong baptisms, where I had a ladder and I had a beer bong, and I used to say like a Pope hat and everything. And the only thing I wanted to do was beer bong baptisms on Broad Street. And, you know, we celebrated briefly, high fives, crying, ugly crying, hugs, and then grabbed the ladder and the beer bong and the hat and went out to Broad Street and got up on the ladder. And photos would have never done it justice. Video will never done it justice. I got it in my head, looking up and just seeing
sea of people
as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, just
coming toward it. And like you stood, it was a wow moment I'll never forget, because I stood up there, okay, beer bong, and I just looked up and went, oh shit.
You're fucking him.
well, not me, but just we did it, and here comes it's zombie apocalypse of just maniacs coming towards you, and what a night! What a night!
Yeah, man, there was something in the air. Like it was the coolest. It was the coolest night, coolest experience as a Philly fan, because, you know, an NBA championship is great, a World Series is great, but an NFL Super Bowl is like magnum opus,
especially for that team in the city.
Yeah,
It was just a monster. I mean, they you know, I used to sit in my car in traffic. I'm 42 years old. I used to sit in my car in traffic and like think about, man, what would it be like to win a Super Bowl, and like get teary eyed. Yeah. Like think about it. And like start getting, you know, you're kind of lost in the taillights and you just get emotional about it. Yeah. And the wonderful thing about the Super Bowl, and I hope everybody shares this sentiment, I genuinely do, is that so rarely in life does reality exceed expectations, right? You think about something, you fantasize about something, you wonder what it might be like, and it's always this top shelf level of expectation. And when it happens for you, whether you win a championship or you get a new job or your girl passes the bar or whatever it might be, like hey, I'm happy, but it doesn't exceed what I had in my head. Not only did the Eagles win in the Super Bowl, like, meet expectations, it fucking blew it out of the water. It's the only time in life I could be like, this was better than what I even had in my head.
And you beat Tom Brady.
Just the whole thing, man. You can run down the list. Backup quarterback, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, it was great. And, like, there was no one beating us, for sure. I knew for a fact. Once it came out the Dreams and Nightmares, no one was beating us. Like, because that, the song was hot at the time. And, like, there's a certain energy in the city. And, like, dude, when we won the Super Bowl, I was in Cottman in Frankfurt, and I got so drunk. Mom, if you're not listening, I'm sorry. I got so drunk that I passed out in a random person's basement, and I woke up the next morning.
Did they make you breakfast?
Dude, it was like I was talking to my neighbors. Like, it was the coolest thing ever. I woke upstairs like, yo, what's going on? I'm so sorry. I was in the Eagles jersey. They're like, you're on Cottman, right? I was like, yeah. Like, well, go Birds. I was like, go Birds. It was like the coolest.
Here's a waffle. Get the fuck out of here.
It was the coolest thing ever. I only remember being in there. Like, it was insane. And, like, it was crazy time. And yeah, it was great, man. The whole, like, for a whole month, I listened to Eagles radio. And it was, like, just, like, there's a certain, like pride in your city. Like, you get emotional, teary-eyed, like you said. Like, I was super emotional, just like, we finally fucking did it. Like, hopefully we could do it again, and we could celebrate even harder. And
we'll celebrate even harder, but I'll tell you, people ask if the Super Bowl kind of changed the Eagles fans, and I honestly, a little bit changed me. Took kind of smoothed over some of the sharp edges.
Yeah.
I'm not as ornery as I used to be. I kind of let shit slide a little bit more than I used to.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit more patient than I used to be, because I'm like, I saw one before I died.
Yeah, exactly.
And not everyone gets to say that, man. There was people with urns out there,
Oh, yeah, true.
out there.
True.
That night, just holding it, just crying, because like, here, Dad.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Says a lot about
Says a lot.
Yeah, it says a lot about the city in a positive way. When you can unite a city like that. And like, obviously, this year should be a great year. Looking forward to a great season. But you kind of mentioned family a little bit. I would love to get into that, because it sounds like family's super important to you. And so you mentioned you moved to Philly, right? So where are you from?
I'm from Flemington, New Jersey.
Okay, so you're from Jersey.
So, I'm Central. I will die on Central Jersey Hill. There is a Central Jersey. Shut up. There is. I live there. Trust me, I know. But yeah, Central Jersey. My grandparents grew up in Trenton. Back in the day, where on a Sunday at 8 o'clock, you could roll over and be like, "Oh, you want to go to Franklin Field? You want to catch a game?" And go down and pay the 50 cents to get into the stadium back then. And that passed down to my mother. And that's ultimately, I learned the game of football from Mom.
Oh, yeah. Nice. And then when you guys, how long have you been in season ticket holder for?
Sometime in the 90s. I don't know exactly when, but sometime in the 90s.
Oh, for a minute. Wow.
Yeah. I remember my earliest memory being in that stadium was the 4th and 1 game, where they stopped them again.
Oh, yeah.
And I was too young at the time. I might have been like 10, 11. I didn't understand what was happening, but I understand.
I was born yet.
Date myself. But I remember just that energy, like cheering, and then like, oh shit, booing, and then like going nuts again. And I think at that point I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but let's do that again. That's what the bug that got me.
Yeah. And so you've been an Eagles fan ever since, ticket holder ever since, and like, did you ever expect your, for lack of a better term, your social media career or like your Eagles fandom to extend like to this place?
No. I've and I'm thankful every day for it. I'm not an expert on fucking anything. I know a little bit about a lot, but the one thing I'm an expert in, and the one thing I'm absolutely passionate about, is what it means to be an Eagles fan. So when I started doing YouTube videos in 2007, there was like I noticed there was a miscommunication between like the out-of-market audience and what actually game day culture. Because game day culture was its own thing. There's no social media. There's no way for you to understand what's going on. You got to be there, and if you're not there, you don't get it. And that's where I grew up. Yeah. So one of my goals was just kind of to share my experience with the world. And if you talk about something that you love, you just hope it resonates with people. And I'm very proud of the fact that most of my social media, the power of what I do is through spoken word and humor.
Right. Yeah.
It's not through, costumes or going crazy. It's more through hitting the more emotional chord and being able to articulate what it means to be an Eagles fan or how Eagles fans feel. So when somebody gives me that piece of feedback, that's the highest form of compliment for me. Is that like, you're saying what we're thinking. Oh, goddamn, thank you. That means so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what? Let me ask you this: like, it's not trying to get too deep, but like, why do you do it? Like, why do you keep doing it? Why do you love to do it?
It's who I am. Yeah, I don't monetize at all. I did that early. Like, people would monetize their YouTube videos, and I made a strict just Erock policy. You're never going to monetize this.
Yeah.
Ever. And so the Instagram, the views, the clicks, I don't want money out of any of this. All I want to do is epic shit.
Yeah.
All I want to do is go to games and feel goosebumps and scream my head off. And, like we were hanging out at the vent, fucking from across the room. Every time you play a banger, I'm like, yeah, cat, you know what I mean? And just bouncing up and down and singing the lead.
Yeah.
I fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
I love game day. I love football. I love the Eagles. And I love sharing that with people from across the world. And thank God I'd be doing it regardless.
Yeah.
But thank God it's resonating with people.
Yeah. You get to, I think there's something really cool about sharing the love you have for a specific team or thing, and like the energy you gave. Like, obviously, like I would see you jumping up and down, and I'll play my song. I'll go to the side so you can see me, and I'm jumping up and down.
I was singing Larry, just acting a fool.
Yeah, so I'm
just
like,
acting goofy.
I'm
Who
like,
gives a shit?
I hope Erock sees this and that shit. Because like, it's cool, and like, and energy is everything. I think that like,
energy's everything.
Everything. It's how you grow. It's everything, and like, I'm just a huge proponent of, building your relationships and like the energy, positive energy, because it doesn't hurt to be positive. You know what I mean?
No.
Like it's something super easy you could do, like as simple as smiling at someone when you walk by them, or telling you like their shirt or their hat, whatever the case is. It's like, because you just don't know, like what someone's going through, whatever like that. But like, it's cool that people say that they resonate with your stuff, because it just means that it means something to them.
I hit a chord.
Yeah.
Which I listen, in any form of social media, it doesn't matter who it is or what brand or really what. They're a cooking show. They're an auto mechanic. They give restaurant reviews. There is an element of like, look at me. There has to be.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now. Look at me. Look at my podcast.
Yep.
But when you're able to kind of do that in a format where you're sharing the energy and you're sharing the love and you're making them feel like they're part of it. That was always, I'm the boots on the ground guy. I'm there. I'm showing you what's happening. I'm sharing this experience with you. Come along on this journey.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah, and I love what's really cool about what you do, and like even like podcasts like this is like, it shows other people that it's okay to do it, or it's okay to want to do something, and that's been like my whole thing. So like, even the reason why I started doing the podcast is because like I felt like at one point in my life that I was like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I was hoping that I could talk to enough people to hopefully learn that I could like, like what I want to do is okay, or I hope that I can, meet enough people to where I can take one thing from someone and like, led to Brian Dawkins coming on the podcast, and like that's something I would have never expected, and like, and I was grateful enough to speak at a school because of it, LaSalle College or a high school. They asked me to come in and speak, and it was cool because like I'm just like a kid from Northeast Philly who bought a camera, and like that being, we were talking before, like just being able to sit across from someone like Brian Dawkins is such a humbling thing, and like dude, I got super emotional because like, you just realize like how big of Eagles fans we are, and the culture we just talked about, and having one of the legends of that culture being able to tell me that I'm meant to be here is a cool feeling, and like and that's like why I feel like you do what you do as well, is just to show people like you've been able to do some really cool shit, but just by doing what you love and like the passion of like being an Eagles fan. I feel like that's really cool to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's I try to keep it that way. Because it's social media. There's enough phoniness out there.
Yeah.
There's enough people faking it. And I'm not talking Eagles. So I'm just talking. You go to any social media influencer on any platform talking about anything. There's enough fake it until you make it. There's enough phoniness out there.
Yeah.
When you're genuinely rooted in something, and this is what I love, and this is, listen, I'd be doing this. I'd be going to these events and these games and tailgating, partying my ass off, regardless of whether the camera was on or not.
Yeah.
But again, come along with me. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun together.
Yeah,
That's what I love.
I love it. And how long have you been, like, for lack of better terms, full time with the social media? Like, how long have you been doing this, saying, "Oh, I got to do a video today, or I got to do this or that"? Like, how long have you been doing that for?
There was kind of ebbs and flows to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question, and it's one I'm gonna enjoy answering. So I used to do a weekly video on YouTube, and then that went into Twitter. And when I was into Twitter, man, I kind of got lost down the rabbit hole. Like, I got too involved with how many people are following me today, who unfollowed me. I would set, almost like a sales rep, I would set expectations or goals for myself. Like, you need to have one meme a day, get 50 at least 50 retweets, and if you don't, you need to, and you got to maintain the follower count, and you got to, and then, like, I don't know, I turned 40, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. Like, I'm getting lost down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And so I started producing content when I felt inspired. Like, if you guys don't hear from me in 2 weeks, it's because I got nothing. And I'm not going to force it.
Yeah.
But you might say, damn, he's 5 videos because I'm inspired. I will only do it when I feel like I want to do it or when I feel inspired. I'm to the point in my life and established enough where it's quality over quantity. Mm-hmm. So I'm not out there fucking doing 3 videos a day,
right?
To try to please the algorithm. I don't give a fuck. I put a video up, and you know what? If I put it up, I got confidence in it, and it usually does pretty well.
Right. Yeah.
And that's I would encourage everyone to just it's such a it's such a delicate balance.
Yeah.
Because when you're first on the startup and you got to get out there, you got to be aggressive. You got to, you know what I'm talking about? Those days or nights where you're up till 3 a.m, edited fucking video,
yep.
And then you get pissed off because it got 100 views. And you're like, what the fuck, man? I spent 5 hours on this thing, and getting too involved with that, and then not enjoying it, where it feels like it's becoming a job. Mm-hmm. You have to do what's comfortable with you. Like, you got to 100 episodes over X amount of years because you're comfortable in what you're doing and how you're doing it and the pace that you're doing it. Mm-hmm. Don't lose that. Right. Don't lose sight of that.
Yeah, that's great. And, like, I was taking all that in. And the one thing I am teaching myself every day is consistency. Like, no matter what I do, whether it's DJing or the podcast, which, you know, like, after the Dawkins episode, it, like, kind of hit me like a truck. I'm like, oh shit, I got caught in like a what's next thing. So, like, I was like, oh fuck. So, like, I took some time off, and, like, and then, you know, DJing started picking up. But, like, when it came to the podcast, like, I was like, holy shit, like, I did this. Like, it was cool. It was a cool experience. I'm like, what's next? And I think that kind of got me in a bit of a tricky situation where I'm like, no, I need to keep doing what I was doing, right, so I can reach the next goal, which is, like, Allen Iverson would be dope. But, like, even, like, you know, stuff like that. And the one thing that, like, all of it's taught me is, like, consistency, because you learn something new every single time, and you've taken the pressure off of yourself, which is, like, I think a big thing for people is they put pressure on themselves to do things. But when you're just putting your head down and saying, I'm gonna do one a week no matter what, I like, you detach yourself from the numbers, is when people start to see the authenticity of it. You don't see someone who's trying to, like, for lack of a better term, please the algorithm or whatever. It's like someone who just loves to do what they do, that makes people resonate more. So, like, the video you showed me at Chickies and Pete's, as simple as it was, it's something you love, so people can resonate with it. And it's just also, when a brand or whatever the case is, like, someone goes to see, like, you've been so consistent, they have a whole entire catalog to check out now. You know, they hear that you've done videos for the past, you know, for lack of knowledge, 10 years or whatever. Oh, he's been doing video for 10 years. Like, I'll go to a wedding phone call saying I've been doing weddings for 11 years. Have all of them been great? No. But, like, I've been doing them for 11 years. So then they hear that and, like, oh fuck, he's doing it for a long time. He's been consistent. I feel like that's where people really, like, resonate with you, and that allows you to, like, reach the next goal.
There is a point, and maybe this is, like, one of the graybeard old head advice to anybody who's in the social media or doing a podcast or doing anything like that. and you've probably experienced it a couple times yourself. There's a point in time where you genuinely ask yourself, like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, I'm busting my hump for fucking 3 views. Like, what am I even doing here? And then they quit. Like, I was the benefactor of being early on everything, so I was right place, right time. I would hate to, like, start up right now. And try to have a social media presence like right now, as flooded as it is. But if there's one piece of advice I can give people, it's stay consistent. Do it when you're inspired. Quality over quantity. But if you're questioning, like, do I even want to do this? Maybe you weren't in love with it to begin with, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you put out a podcast, and I hope you're proud of this one, or you put out a video, or you put something out there, and you walk away feeling like, I did a fucking good job on that. You need to please you and you only. That's it. That's it. If you walk away feeling satisfied, the rest will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. Because the more you try to please other people, other people will like this, but I don't. This will catch the other algorithm, but it's not my cup of tea. I saw it a lot on YouTube where, like, people would do these really whack titles that try to suck you into a video, and then
clickbait.
Fucking clickbait. And it's like, it feels dirty. Mm-hmm. Feel satisfied with what you're doing, and if you love what you're doing, that'll come through the lens. People see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially in a town like Philly, where they can smell a phony 100 miles away.
Yeah.
So just love what you do. Quality over quantity. Consistency. Don't drive yourself nuts.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, and that's the consistency part. It takes care of itself when you do love it.
And it does.
That's really it.
Does.
Like, you do it without even realizing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I was getting at with everything, like with the pod and all that stuff, and like the DJing. Like, when you love what you do, you just naturally do it more. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
that's when I knew when I had to stop.
Yeah.
I stopped loving it.
Yeah.
You know, the crowds and the drunk college girls, and I was like, I don't love this anymore. I'm out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's like a good thing to realize too. A lot of people don't realize that, and they stay in it too long, and they're like, oh fuck, maybe I should have spent the last 10 years doing something else.
Dude, 10 years goes by quick, dog.
Yeah, I'm learning, dude, and especially like with all COVID, like how fast everything kind of went with that, and like everything, you know, the state of the world right now is just crazy. But I think it's giving people. I actually had a conversation yesterday about this. Today, my buddy Jimmy is a DJ. He was like, yeah, man, he's like, I just really love what I do right now, and I'm just focused on doing that. I'm like, honestly, the state of the world, you don't have a family yet, you just focus on what you love to do and let everything else figure itself out, because, like, you know, like I said, the state of the world's crazy right now. But
man.
But yeah, man, so you've been doing this for a while, and I know
in 3 more years, I'm gonna be celebrating 20 years in Eagle social media.
No.
20 years.
Wow. You gonna have like a party or something?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I'll throw myself a little 20-year anniversary. But isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, time flies when
man.
You know, when you're having fun. But yeah. And so, like, is there anything outside of Eagles fandom that you love to do that, like, is a hobby that, like, let's say someone who loves your videos, loves your content, may not know?
So during COVID, obviously everything we talked about, I'm the boots on the ground guy. I'm at the tailgates. I'm just shared this journey during COVID. Couldn't go to the fucking games. So, you know, I've got this creative juices and energy, and my mind kind of shifts towards that. So I was like, you know, I gotta expel this. I gotta vomit this creativity up. And you know, while a lot of people, this is weird, while a lot of people were consuming like Eagles content, my content, whoever's content it might be, I'm a big saltwater fishing guy. I'm a big surf fishing guy. So I'd be sitting there like an old man late at night watching people fucking fish and loving every minute of it. And then it dawned on me one day during COVID, I'm like, I can do this. And I can make it more entertaining. So if you look up, and I stopped doing it, but From the Surf NJ is my saltwater fishing channel.
On YouTube?
On YouTube. And it actually took off.
What's it called?
From the Surf NJ.
Okay.
And it took off. And it was going really, really, really well. The only problem is when you see all those saltwater fishing guys, those are the guys who monetize their videos.
Yeah.
Those are the guys whose career is to go out there and make YouTube content. In fact, when I was talking about the clickbaity thing, I was thinking about those guys in the back of my head, because they'd be like, this never happened when I was fishing. And I'm like, you caught a little fucking thinker. What are you talking about? Yeah, you sucked me in. Thanks, asshole.
Pretty consistent, yeah.
Yeah, so when I'm fishing, my mind's off.
Mm.
I'm reading the waves. I'm looking at the tides. I'm looking at the birds, thinking about what I got to do. I don't care about the phone or work or even family at that point. It's just everything's turned off.
Yeah.
And so here's a good example of where social media isn't a good fit. So I started doing well and, staying up more consistent. But it's like, that old adage, maybe you don't, but it's like, a bad day fishing beats a good day at work.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But now all of a sudden a bad day fishing means it's a bad day because I didn't get any content. I don't have anything to give to the people.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost started, I put pressure on myself. It almost started ruining my experience, my love for the thing, so I cut it off.
Mm.
And I was like, I want to enjoy my hobby, that I turn my brain off, not be thinking about my hobby.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's a perfect example of like, hey, do I love it? Do I not love it? I don't love it. I love fishing. I'm still out there, but I'm not with a GoPro strapped to my head anymore.
Right. Yeah. Let me ask you this too, because like obviously a lot of people go into making content. It's like the new age, right? Like the new social media age, the whole nine. What made you? So I've seen I was on your page. You were consistently like 5,000 to 10,000 views consistently. What makes people drawn to Erock? What makes people like drawn to you?
I don't know the answer to that. I hope it's, again, the highest form of praise I'll ever get is meeting somebody at a tailgate and being like, dude, every time dude is exactly what I'm thinking. Mm. Okay, the spoken word is resonating with other people because I'm there and you're thinking it and I'm thinking it and we're both sharing that moment at the same time. What draws people to eat, I hope it's one word and one word only, and that's genuine. Mm.
I like that.
I pray that's is he funny? Okay. Is it there's an inherent level of corniness to it. Dad jokes, I get it. I'm 42 years old, father too. Shit's going to be a little corny. Yeah. But I hope it's a genuineness. Mm. I like that. An authenticity. Yeah. If I can nail down those two words, fuck it, I've won. I don't care how many views I get. Right. I've won.
Yeah, because I was asking that because fishing and Eagles are pretty different. So like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you'll do well on Instagram from your Eagles content, but like you also do well on YouTube, relatively speaking, because getting YouTube views is hard. So like, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. So like you would get YouTube views and Instagram reel views.
I still only get a couple thousand on YouTube for a video if I'm lucky.
It's better than a lot of others though.
But then I discovered Instagram Reels and I went, so I could take all those Photoshop Twitter memes that kind of I made a staple of who I am, and now I can meme in video form. Oh fuck, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it just took off.
I got a question. I want to transition to like a Philly athletes a little bit. Is there a Philadelphia athlete? It's kind of a two-parter.
Okay, I guess. Go for it. We got time. Dude. I'm here. Bro.
All right, bet. Let's go. Is there a Philadelphia athlete that you've always wanted to meet, or that you really look up to, you idolize? Two, is there an athlete you've met that has met expectations or exceeded them, and is there an athlete, if you want to answer, that did not reach expectations?
The one that I've always wanted to meet, and I've met a lot of them, dude. I've been very fortunate.
That's why I asked you that question.
Yeah. To be in a lot of situations where you're like, holy shit, your Brian Dawkins moment. Mm. I've never met Eric Allen, and he was my favorite Eagle growing up because my name's Eric. He was the only other Eric in the league. My jerseys, I used to have Erock on the back. I realized it's a cornball thing. I stopped doing it. Like the customized jersey, but the number was always 21 for him. And Eric, if you're listening out there, I haven't met you, man. I'd love to meet you and shake your hand and just take a photo. He's like my white whale. He's like the unicorn. Really? Because I'll see him at an autograph signing or an event. I'm like, son of a bitch, I missed him again.
Is he on Instagram? You think?
I think he's on Instagram. You got to tag him. But every time, my mother met him. My mother was at a convent or like at a hotel convention.
Eric Allen.
Yeah.
Director.
And then walked into a room. You know how in the hotel, well, you done wedding, like they got all the business meeting rooms. She walks into the wrong room, and it's Eric Allen. I think he was coaching college ball. And she stopped the whole meeting because she goes, holy shit, are you Eric Allen? And the guy was like, yeah, I'm in the middle of something here. But thank you. Appreciate it. I was like, oh, sorry, wrong room. Yeah. So my mother met Eric Allen. I've never... Yeah. 21's always been my number. I've got his jersey. I never met the guy.
It's my mom's number too.
Blackjack, man.
Yeah.
Gotta be at the tables. Yeah. people who exceeded expectations. I feel like there's a different kind of athlete nowadays than it was, and it's probably not as great for them because they're so exposed in social media and they're so in the spotlight. Like, could you imagine the days when Pat Burrell, like, if there was social media back then?
Yeah.
Or fucking Randall or T.O. or any of them. You know what I mean?
They might not be as beloved as they are.
They might not be. And I don't know. I don't know them personally, but shit would get out, you know?
Yeah.
So this day and age's athlete, fair or unfairly, needs to be groomed far as far as interacting with fans and interacting with media far more than it used to be. And BG and Kelsey have just fucking blown it away. I don't know how they do it.
Right.
I because everyone just wants a piece of them every single moment of every single day. And you and I and the person watching this right now, we've had days where it's just another fucking text, another email, Outlook, suck my dick. Just leave me the fuck alone. Can you imagine how they feel?
Yeah.
They've been working their ass, they're grinding,
Yep.
they're sore, they're hurt, they're banged up, and this fucking guy's bugging you and just trying to eat with your family, like all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd go as far as to say they didn't ask for it. You know,
no,
like an athlete that, you know, is like a Jason Kelsey and Kylie Kelsey. I'm sure they didn't expect to get to this level of like popularity. And yeah, and I hear amazing things about, obviously, met BJ, and you talk to every single person that was at that event. But like even like Jason Kelsey when he was in Seattle, I don't know if you were at the Seattle event that he had.
No.
Every year, but like it's just like no one has a bad thing to say about him.
Yeah.
Or Kylie, and it's like it's impressive to hold that up because I've heard athletes that I know and love that I've heard bad things or had bad experiences with, and you know, and that's not against them. They may have had a bad day, like, but I consistently hear good things about BG and Kelsey for sure.
As far as bad interact, listen, I've had a few of them. I don't want to name names, but there's always the guy who thinks he's a little bit more important than he really is, and it's like, don't take yourself so seriously, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder where that comes from too. Like, you know, I guess that's just these players nowadays and athletes, they hustle their whole lives to go to play college ball, and then they get drafted, and it's all of a sudden they get millions of dollars. They're doing a million different things now, and it's like, I'm sure it's just natural. And
also too, you kind of and you realize this with age. Like, even though they're a little bit of a dick to you, you kind of give them a pass. Because I remember what it was like to be 23, 24, 25. I was an asshole, and I didn't have millions of dollars. So you almost want to give them a little bit of grace, be like, you're young. That's all right. That's all right. You're good.
And then the flip side is like, you have millions of dollars. I don't want to hear it.
But
you gotta look at both edges of the sword. But like, you know, it's funny because I always like, it's funny. The one guy I've always wanted to meet is Allen Iverson. He was like, it was Brian Dawkins was one of them, and Allen Iverson, and like, I that's like one athlete I would love to meet. I don't know if you obviously have Eric Allen, but like, is there anyone like any legend or someone that's like a very notable Philly figure that you haven't met that you would like to meet? Or, you know, I would love to know who else you met too, like any great experiences you've had too.
I always wanted to meet. So, do you have a favorite non-Eagle?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite non-Eagle?
Favorite non-Eagle? It was LaDainian Tomlinson.
LaDainian Tomlinson. Okay, so me growing up, it was Jerry Rice.
Oh fuck yeah!
I was a big Jerry Rice guy. He wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the most physical, but the guy fucking produced. And to this day, if you look up like the records, we're talking about the 80s when it was, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
He still holds all of them. And then you think, well, Terrell Owens was, look, number one. Look at the gap between. You will never see a bigger gap in statistics in football than for wide receivers. And you're like, Jam, that's a jump from number one to number two.
Yeah.
You can argue who's the best running back. You can argue who's the best quarterback. You can argue who's the best left tackle. You can't argue about who's the best wide receiver. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. Just fucking look at it. Look at it. Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah, I love to watch more of Jerry Rice highlights. I'm sure he was.
Never got to meet him though.
Nah, yeah.
And I think the big fan convention was in New York City.
Okay, Fanatics.
Fanatics, and I
Yeah.
didn't know it was that big of a deal. I'm definitely going to it next year.
Gronk was there. Brady was there. A lot of people were there. I think Randy Moss was there. Yeah.
Now they do something like that in Philly, right? But I don't think like that.
I don't think so. I've never heard about it personally.
Because they had the concert. I met Nick Foles there.
I know
they
you're
had
talking
Fall Out Boy
Mhm.
doing like headlining the concert.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Was that Xfinity? No.
That was Xfinity,
It was,
yeah,
yeah,
in
yeah.
Xfinity parking lot. But I was like, I'll just wait till it comes to Philly. I don't think it. I think that was a unique experience
I
up
don't
in
know.
New York. I'm definitely going next year.
And you said you went to the drafts. You went to a few drafts, or
I covered the draft for Danny Watkins.
okay, yeah.
And then I covered the draft for Fletcher Cox. Again, dating myself, but this was the days where I got in an argument with the guys at Radio City Music Hall because, like, in the cafeteria, there was only so many seats, and I set up my laptop, and we had a hot spot, and they had to Skype in. So Dave Spadaro is interviewing Fletcher Cox at my laptop. This was the first ever live stream that they've done. And it was still when it was like Radio City Music Hall, so it was still a very small, intimate venue. And yeah, those are things I'll never forget. And also, like, just it puts into perspective like where it started, where it's at now.
Right, yeah.
Because right now, you draft pick, oh shit, I'll just FaceTime you.
Right, yeah.
You don't understand the hoops we had to jump through just to get a Skype call, and it was like Fletcher Cox is at the draft live talking to, and it's streaming.
Yeah.
On Philadelphia, like that shit was mind blowing at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to have a little part in that.
Nice. Yeah. Do you have an all-time favorite Eagles player?
Doc's the easy one.
Docs, yeah.
Eric Allen, obviously. A lot of the players that I hold near and dear are ones that I've had great interactions with personally. And I'll tell you who's my guy now. Boy, that Will Shipley.
Yeah.
Nice. Will Shipley. I got a chance to just, first of all, my son Jace, who's just fearless, doesn't give a shit. He'll just walk up to people and strike up a conversation. I love the kid. He no shit's given. Is that Smitty over there? I'm gonna give him a high five. Okay, bud, go for it. Do you? Will Shipley actually took time with my son.
That's awesome.
And then I took time with him and just explained to him, like, listen, man, you got drafted to a weird city. Okay, we see everything. You come from Clemson with a reputation of lowering your shoulder and putting a little something extra in it. Philly invented the underdog. This is where Rocky was born. All right, we invented the underdog. We like a smaller, scrappy guy who gives it. And I'm pulling him aside, basically, like, telling him like this. We love a smaller, scrappier guy. This fucking city is going to love you. I promise you. They're going to love you. Just fucking give it your all. Just every play, every down, we see it. We see it, and we make notes. Go back and listen to the Kelsey retirement speech and about how we talked about Brent Selleck and how Brent's... Was it... No, it was... Ertz. How Ertz avoided contact, and we all fucking saw that, and we flamed them for it. And then home game, next game, lays a shoulder into it, the fucking crowd goes nuts. I remember Ron Jaworski talking about, like, getting booed and just getting sacked, but the more he got sacked and the more times he popped up, all of a sudden the crowd started to change because this guy's getting piss beaten out of him, and he's still getting up, and we get off on that shit. We want to see the guy get up, Rock. We want to. So I was having this conversation with him, and and you could tell he got it, and you could tell like it was like, oh, I'm gonna fit in here real. Yes, you are. Just every fucking play, man, 100%.
Yeah.
We see it. We take note of it.
Yeah, and the first player I think of is Boston Scott, like, cause he's a scrappy. Granted, his best moments were against the Giants and only the Giants, but like he was a lot in the Super Bowl too. But like scrappy guy who played hard every single down, and like whenever he got his name called, he fucking killed it. And people love that shit. Like, and you're right, you're exactly right. Like that's like the type of city we are. Like
Shipley looks like you, man. Like you just look at him and like you're talking to a dude. It's just some guy.
Yeah.
And he goes in there, and you've seen him doing his thing in preseason, and the next time I see him, I fucking told you.
Yeah.
Fucking told you.
You went to a few this year, right? Obviously, you were talking about shit, but you went to a few mini camps.
Yeah, training camps. Yeah.
What do you? How's Coop looking? Coop DeJean?
Well, he just got back, so I haven't seen him.
Okay.
He had that hamstring thing going on. So how does he look? He looks like Jack Harlow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's out there chopping it up. You can tell him, Shipley, and who's the first round pick? Oh shit! Now I'm having a brain fart. Talking about all these names. The corner, 30.
Yeah, why am I drawing a blank here?
Yeah, we'll cut that.
Well, let's say Eagles first round pick. Someone's probably gonna flame us, whoever's watching this.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just drawing a blank, dude.
Eagles first round pick is Kenyon Mitchell.
There it is. So listen, sometimes you just have those brain farts where you talk about so many names and so many things.
Yeah,
You're
man.
like, what the fuck is that guy's name?
Yeah.
But you can tell that trio, they got a chemistry going. They're all part of that draft class, and you see them dancing and chopping it up on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see what the kid can do. I feel very comfortable with how he did in the draft. It was very... I can remember watching the Lito and Sheldon and Michael Lewis draft and just looking up and being like, what the fuck is Andy doing? Like, we have Bobby and Troy and Al.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And then come to find out, like, you know, you're 2 years ahead. And I like that plan.
Yeah.
Because when you got a shit secondary, it's like when you got shit wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know, we take it for granted. I mean, you want to talk about taking it for
I
granted.
mean, we as a fan base, come on, we've been through a lot.
We've been through a lot, but like, don't get comfortable. This is we are in the best position at wide receiver we have ever been in our lives.
Yeah.
Look at the New York Giants. If you got shit corners and shit receivers, you're going nowhere.
Yeah, and they thought Galladay was a franchise player, and I mean, he was until he wasn't.
It was the consolation prize to us getting Smitty.
Yeah.
We jumped over them to draft it.
Yeah.
Don't think I forgot.
Yeah, real quick, we'll get into Dallas.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll get into Dallas. So we were kind of hitting on it before and like how poorly ran of a franchise it is.
Yeah.
So I saw Zeke's back in Dallas. He's starting running back again. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions for Dallas this year?
They're going to be shit. And I think they know they're going to be shit, and I think they want to be shit.
Yeah.
Dallas has been a dog chasing its tail for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And they've just been throwing money at problems. And the problem with throwing money at problems, this is why Howie Roseman needs to be appreciated a little bit more than... I feel like he's appreciated now, but like, like 5 years ago, maybe...
Well, when we drafted Hurts, he wasn't.
Yeah, not so much.
We thought he was nuts.
Right, but Dallas has just been throwing money at problems, and what it does is constantly jam you up because you're up against the cap. The one thing you will always see is the Eagles spending money like they're printing it at NovaCare. The one thing you will never see is the Eagles in a bad salary cap position. So this not signing, I'm in no hurry. What do you say? I'm in no rush to sign CD or Dak or Micah and stuff like that. They know that they're going to have to let star players go.
It comes off as an ego thing. You tell your best receiver after getting rid of Amari Cooper for literally, nothing that you're not in a rush to sign him. It's like, all right, then why do I even want to play for you? And especially a guy like CD, coming from his career that he came from, is like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
I actually think it's one of the, as much as, listen, I don't want to blow my cover, okay? I'm going to shit on the Cowboys no matter what I do. But I actually think it's one of the smartest things that this Jerry Jones is doing, if it is indeed for this genuine reason, which is, fuck, we got to hit the hard reset at some point. We got to hit the hard this ain't working out. We can't keep throwing money at this problem. It's almost like the Sixers and the Prod. Like, we need to suck in order to get better. We need to take a step back in order to take a step forward. Because right now we're just treading water in this first round exit. Boy, sounds awful familiar, doesn't it? We got a couple star players but the rest of it's shit.
Yeah.
And we just can't seem to get past the first round or make the playoffs. But we keep throwing money at it, and that just keeps costing us for the next year. So if Jerry's doing this with this mindset, going like, listen, we just got to fucking shit the bed for the next 2 years. We got a lot of contracts. We just, we're going to have to let some good players walk. Fuck it. Like, we got to do it. We got to do it.
Yeah.
We got to get these people off the books. We got to infuse it. We got to collect assets. We got to, if you start to see Jerry Jones start collecting draft picks, start to be, you don't have to be worried, but start to be a little worried, because that means he's got his mind right. I'd almost rather him frivolously spend on nonsense. Yeah, give CD the highest paid, make him the highest paid wide receiver.
Yeah.
Because I know that's just going to fuck you next year.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Dak's in your quarterback, it doesn't matter. Like, in my honest opinion, like, he's had some great years, but like, Yeah, I think the way they move is weird. I think, and
It's very weird.
It's weird. It's very weird.
And my fear is that they got a handle on the situation.
Yeah, you think they're going to try to rebuild? I mean, I think the NFC East, other than us, needs a rebuild. I think Washington doesn't know what it is. Giants obviously they stink. Dallas
Giants are fun. Did you watch Hard Knocks?
I did not. I just got HBO actually, so I'm gonna have to check it out. Did you watch it?
They embarrassed themselves.
Getting ready to Saquon, right? That's a part of it, right? Yeah.
That and the weird part about that is okay. It's a little peek behind the curtain. Remember when the Eagles did the Amazon series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
If you do a series, you were exempt from doing a series for 8 years. Okay. And they chose Amazon. Their number was up. Like it's you guys now, and they were smart enough. This is why the front office plays checkers, not chess. Chess, not checkers. Yeah. They were smart enough to go, okay, we'll take the Amazon one, because the Amazon one we produce in house, so we let you see. We want you to see. The HBO series is done by NFL Films, so they shoot it, they edit it, and then it has to go to the team for the team to sign off on. So they look incredibly bad during this entire series. And they edited all the bad shit out. And the way it frames up is, if I'm reading the tea leaves or kind of knowing what I know, like reading between the lines, it was an exercise in Jonathan Mara to have a built-in excuse going, well, I wanted to keep Saquon. You saw me talk to the general manager and say I wanted to keep Saquon. He's the most popular player. He fucking let him go. I said this, I said that. And every time you saw Jonathan Mara just unhappy with the direction that the GM was taking the team, and it was like, oh, this is an excuse for the owner in case shit doesn't work out, which is not going to. It came across very poor. So the Giants are a fucking mess.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
crazy. I mean, I didn't get to watch it, but I saw clips on Twitter. I'm curious why. Like I said, I saw brief moments on Twitter. I never got to watch it.
Right.
Why did the Giants let Saquon walk?
Because they foolishly put too much money behind Daniel Jones. And instead of shitting the bed and trying to really kind of get to the top of the draft board to get a quarterback, which would have extended the life of a Saquon. You could have paid a Saquon and then paid a rookie quarterback. That's the benefit of having a rookie quarterback. That's good, man. They're cheap. They're cheap. It's when they get their bag that it becomes a problem, right? So they could have paid Saquon and then just shit the bed for a year and then marched up to the top of the draft board. But what they did is decided to throw all this money at Daniel Jones. Now all of a sudden you don't have the money to do the contract for running back. And I could see where they're coming from. Like, we are so far away from competing. Why give this guy all this money when we're 2-3 years away from really getting it? And they tried that. They show in the series they tried to move up to get a quarterback. If you're Daniel Jones, how the fuck do you think you feel about that?
Also, the fact that you just paid him all this money, and because I don't see the hype behind Daniel Jones. I don't. I've never been impressed by him. I've had him in fantasy, so I know how he plays week in and week out. Never.
There is none. There's no. He's just a bad quarterback. He ain't it.
Yeah.
So why you would continue to throw money behind him? And that decision snowballed into fucking Saquon's going, oh shit.
I don't even know who their running back is. Who is it?
It's Montgomery.
Is it Dave Montgomery? Wow.
Yeah.
The times change, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I'm excited for the Eagles. I'm excited for the season. What are you most excited about this year, and what are your predictions for the season?
I'm just excited to get back out there, get back at it, man. Yeah. Just those mornings of waking up at 3:30 to line up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I fucking see you there. Yeah. You're always first. You're always first.
I had
listen, real talk. I'm like 10th or 11th in line. This motherfucker is always up there first.
I'm a sick fuck when it comes to productions and Eagles fan. I'm not as big of a fan as he is in regards to content, but like
4:30, I'm out there and he beats me. He beats me to the punch. You got a little bit closer of a drive. Granted, you got a little bit closer of a drive.
Yeah, we'll talk after, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be a different season. It's gonna be because like the games, the home games are weird. There's there's Monday games, there's Thursday games, and then there's Sunday games stacked at the end of the year, which is weird because we don't have a favorable schedule when it comes to like our tailgates, but we'll see.
I'm DJing. Here we go.
Let's go.
I'm DJing the New Orleans tailgate and emceeing all the events with all the ex-players. That lineup's yet to be announced. Down in New Orleans, so first time to the Big Easy.
Congrats. That's sick. Hell yeah, let's go.
I'm DJing the tailgate. We are, if I can use this as a little recruiting tool, when Carson was playing for Washington and it was time for the Eagles to go down there, we brought 1,400 Eagles fans down to FedEx Field. We're doing the same thing when Saquon goes back to New York. We're all wearing our Saquon jerseys, and we're going to be assholes about it.
Oh, that's sick.
In the figurative sense, meaning we're showing up, we're going to be loud, we're going to be wearing our Saquon. Yeah. No fist fight. I'm not encouraging.
No violence.
No violence.
Erock wants no violence.
But be loud, be proud, and we're going to show them, like, your organization decided to give this guy up. Your organization's in the fucking dumpster. Look at us. And we're turning this stadium green, not Jets green. Fuck that. No, it's Eagles green right now.
I love that.
So I'll be DJing that tailgate for Philly sports trips. Baltimore, obviously Washington's a layup, and Cincy.
Nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, man, listen, I'd love to maybe next season or whatever, I would love to get involved and, like, you know, make some ways to the away games and check it out and see what the vibe's like. I haven't really been to any away games. I think I went to one at Giant Stadium 2 seasons ago. But yeah, it was sounds fun.
It'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
It'll blow your mind because you see exactly what I was describing. You think everybody's like, and it's fucking not, dude.
Yeah.
It is so, like, you look around, you're like, holy shit, there's no place like home. They weren't lying. They were really telling the truth. Yeah. We are the best fans in the NFL. Yeah. We are the craziest, most passionate. We can suck, and that stadium's still fucking filled. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, we're very blessed. We have a good team. We waited a long time for it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. And before we send off, I'd love to ask. I know you have what is your ultimate prediction this season? What's your the end goal this year?
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Pull this clip up at the end of the season. We're going to the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna save this. Kev, remember to fucking save this clip. But no, who do you think we're gonna play?
That I don't know. I mean, you could make a case. Obviously, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid. I'd love to get revenge on them. They're just that fucking good, man. That team's a buzzsaw. Baltimore's going to have a good squad. Buffalo's going to have a good squad.
You think without Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, I think they'll figure it out. They're going to... Yeah, that's a big blow. I don't know who's going to make it in the AFC, but I am absolutely 100% convinced that the Eagles, they won 10 games in spite of themselves with shit coaching, throwing bubble screens, getting Smitty fucking smacked by a safety.
Yeah.
What was that? You're asking Smitty, like, the coaching was so obviously horrendous last year.
It makes you wonder, is that shit intentional somehow? Like, how are you that shitty of a coach that, like...
Because you don't have any experience doing it.
Right.
Let us not forget, Nick didn't have any experience doing it.
Right.
The first 8 between 6 and 8 games of Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts was some of the worst Eagles football that I've ever seen in my life. Where to the point where I got on camera and I literally said, I don't know if Jalen Hurts is an NFL quarterback, and I don't know if Nick Sirianni is an NFL head coach, because he never called plays and he was trying to be something that he wasn't. He wasn't being his authentic self. So then you get in a position whether Steichen goes off to Indianapolis or fucking jerk off goes off to Arizona, and we're left with just inexperienced coordinators on both. Like, maybe you can get away with that on one side of the ball, but you can't get away with that on both sides of the ball with them being that inexperienced.
Yeah.
Because with experience, okay, let's talk DJ, right?
Let's do it.
You got your set.
Yeah.
You got your wedding reception set that you can play in your sleep. I got it too. It's you can do it in your sleep. Works every fucking time. Took you 3-4 years to finally accumulate it, but that shit, that whatever crate that's in, that is gold because it works every time, right? And sometimes you notice, you can throw a couple curveballs. You know, you can throw in, all of a sudden you're putting in some reggaeton where you might not have thought that would have gone over, but it's going over real well right now. So you got your set, but you got your bag of tricks that you can go into to kind of like, okay, things are getting a little bit low. We need to spice it up a little bit, right? these coordinators, whether it be on offense or defense, simply didn't have a deep enough bag of tricks. So they were going to the regular set every single time, and these veteran defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators have been in the league for decades, studied film. You're not surprising them. They got you figured out like that. And if you don't have enough stuff in your bag of tricks, guess what? And you see it with inexperienced DJs, right?
Yep.
So that's what happened last year. They just kept... when they say that they didn't know how to figure it out, they didn't fucking know how to figure it out because they weren't experienced enough.
Yeah, and do you think we'll get into brief...
put that as a goddamn reel, because that's the best fucking analogy I've ever made in my life.
That's a great clip. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That'll definitely be a clip, by the way. Yeah. So like, what like truly happened? Because you're going from like 10-1 to people don't even think you're a playoff team in a span of however many weeks left the season was, and like we're going into playing against Tampa as a clear favorite, and no one thinks we're gonna win against what the fuck's his name? The jerk off's name, the quarterback,
Baker Mayfield.
Like how does that happen? And like seeing the AJ Brown social media bullshit, like how does that happen in such a short span of time?
Thank you, San Francisco 49ers. If you were to talk to anybody, try not to say too much. San Francisco figured it out, and when they figured it out, everyone else figured it out, and you were done. And you even saw when they were winning, they were almost winning in spite of themselves, right? Like, Buffalo, holy shit, we fucking beat the Bills, and Kelly Green game, and Jalen Hurts in the end zone, all that shit, and then they walk off the field and miserable. Oh, guys, you just won. What? All those players knew it's only a matter of time until we get found out. It's only a matter of time that we get found out.
Because they knew they were running the same shit.
They knew what was coming down the pike. You could see it. They were, like, think about last year. They were winning. They were miserable. They were winning. They were miserable. Dude, guys, we're fucking winning. This is great. We're finding ways to win. Yeah, off of talent. Because these jamokes on the sidelines don't know what they're doing. Somebody's going to figure us out. San Francisco enters the chat, figures it out, and now everybody else knows we can't do shit.
Right. Yeah.
It was that easy.
Yeah. And do you think this year's going to be different?
When I said Saquon, we won't feel the effects of Saquon until we actually see it. The coordinators, I mean, the Eagles did the best fucking thing they could possibly do, which is, and that's what drives me nuts about, well, it's not Nick Sirianni's offense. You don't fucking want it to be his offense.
Right.
We remember his offense. Terrible. So what you did is you took the best available veteran offensive coordinator, who, by the way, interviewed for the head coach gig.
Right.
And now he's your offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Run the offense. You took the oldest, most curmudgeoniest, crankiest, no-nonsense defensive coordinator. Basically, you've been trying to buy the Wish.com or the Temu version of fucking that guy who invented that. Just get the guy. Just go get the guy. And that's what they did. They brought him in. So you're taking care of the defense. You're taking care of the offense. I could be the vibes guy, keeping the culture straight.
Sirianni can plant the seeds, let the seeds sprout.
There's a value to that. I mean,
I agree.
It kind of drives me nuts when people are like, well, fucking Nick Sirianni, it's not his offense. That's okay.
That's
Look at
the
John
point.
Harbaugh.
Right. That's the point.
I want a guy managing I want a guy that doesn't have his face in the play card, who's actually paying attention to the game.
Yep.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
A game manager. He's the game manager. That's all I want you to be.
Yeah.
And the reason why we don't have we talked about this, a Smitty and an AJ and a Saquon and a Goddard and all these egos, can it be a bad thing to have too many star players on a team? Absolutely. But it's not, because of Nick. And that's why he's here.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a great way to wrap it up. I think that was a great Eagles talk, man. It's nice that the Eagles are back, fall's back, the season's back. Get you an extra fucking coat because I know you don't like the cold. But I'm really looking forward to this season. I'm looking to chop it up with you more and hopefully see what we can do down the line for this amazing Eagles fandom. So, I wish you the most of luck this season with your content, with your tailgates and everything. And you rock. It was a pleasure, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for finally having me on.
Yeah,
no, of course we eventually.
This was awesome.
This has been like a year in the making. We've been seeing each other across some paths, constantly. But
early mornings
yeah.
on game day,
Yeah.
groggy-eyed, rubbing our eyes, yawning,
man.
going, what the fuck's up, bro?
You got a good squad with you, man, and I appreciate it. And shout out to Brandon Graham and Jordan Spector for bringing us together once
Yes, sir.
again. And so this has been The Loft, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and this Eagles talk. I'm Kev Nichols. That's Erock, and peace, guys. Peace. Nice.